Hi everyone, this is Mindy Eggen and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to do some really easy rainbow ink blending using my Distress Oxides and a stencil. I'm going to be using the Basketweave stencil from Honeybee Stamps, and I'm first going to take that and spray some pixie spray on the back of my stencil. The reason I'm doing that is because there are a lot of fine, intricate lines on that basket weave, and I want to make sure all of those are held in place on my cardstock. So I just spray the back of it, let that sit for about a minute, and it's just a really nice low tack adhesive, and it'll stick great to my cardstock without tearing it. This cardstock I'm working on is Neenah Solar White 80 pound, and I do have it cut to 4¼ by 5½. I started my rainbow a little different. I started up in the top corner with Wilted Violet, then I moved on to Worn Lipstick, and then here I have a dried Marigold. I'll follow that with Squeezed Lemonade, and you'll notice that I am moving my blending brush both left to right and right to left. That is going to make sure that I am getting the entire area of those stencils because it is a little, I guess, dipped, you could say. So you want to make sure you're getting great coverage in there. So going in both directions in a circular motion will ensure that. I followed my Squeezed Lemonade up with Twisted Citron and then finished off with Peacock Feathers. And I'm blending each color right into the next. Then I can remove my stencil, and I thought my lines were a little too stark white, so I'm bringing my colors back in and just lightly going over those lines again. That's just going to mute that a little bit. Now, normally there's enough ink left on the brushes where you can just go right to the cardstock and blend over that again, but I was cleaning my brushes off as I was putting them away or finishing it the first time. So I do pick up a little bit of color and kind of tap off on my craft mat here just so I'm not coming in too harsh. I don't want it to overpower my design. I just want to kind of lightly mute that white line a little bit. I love doing this rainbow just a little bit in a different order. I fit all of my colors in here, and I think it's just the perfect rainbow colors. Now I'm going to add just a little bit of interest to that background. I'm taking some white gouache and I'm squeezing a little bit onto an acrylic block. And then I'm going to add a couple little drops of water and mix that together with a small paintbrush. Then I'm going to flick this paint off the edge of that block onto the background. The smaller the brush, the smaller the flicks, and also the further away you hold your block is also going to give you smaller flicks. So if you wanted bigger ones, you just either get a bigger paintbrush or get a little bit closer to the cardstock. You could also do this with any other type of white craft paint that you have or even some glimmer paints. While that's drying, I'm going to work on my sentiment for the front of my card. I just have a small piece of black cardstock here and I'm using the Friend stamp set. I chose this Miss You sentiment off of it because I do miss a lot of my friends. So I lined that up on the black cardstock, picked that up with the door of my Misty, and then I'm prepping my cardstock with an anti-static powder tool. That's just going to help so that my embossing powder only sticks to where I'm inking this. And I did ink it in the Versamark ink, so it's a really nice sticky ink. And after I stamped that down, I'm going to sprinkle on some fine white detail embossing powder. After tapping off that excess, I'm going to melt that embossing powder, let that sit for a few seconds, and then I'm bringing in a Swiffer cloth to dust off any of that excess embossing powder that was on there. To go along with my small sentiment, I have the word friend here, die cut 3 times from a white cardstock that I'm just going to layer together with my tweezers and some liquid glue. And I also die cut one from holographic cardstock that I will add on top of that. There is also a shadow layer that I die cut from vellum that I added my friend die cut word to. So I trimmed my panel down to 4 by 5¼ and I'm layering the back of that with some foam tape to add some dimension, and I'll place that on top of a white card front that is 4¼ by 5½. Then I can take my die cut friend word and I'm just adding little dots of glue right to the back of that die cut word, and I'll place this in the front of my card, just kind of eyeballing it, making sure that my margins are even on each side. And then I can place that down, and you can put something heavy on this to kind of make sure that that liquid glue is adhering to the cardstock really well. I just hold it in place for a few extra seconds. And for the smaller sentiment, I'm adding a tape runner to the miss you and placing that right above the word friend. So there we have it, a really quick and easy rainbow ink blended background using the Distress Oxides. All of the supplies will be listed down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.